Back at the Nassau Re Incubator, and I'm talking to two of my favorite people, Bobbie Shrivastav. I'm so bad with names, trying to get it off my Italian tongue. So Bobbie S. and Brent W. My man crush. We'll have to have. We're gonna put this on video, and instead of your LinkedIn photo, we're gonna have the photo of me kissing you, and just having us talk. But one of my favorite insurtech companies, Benekiva. So nice to see you guys in Hartford, Connecticut, very far away from home.
Yeah.
So I think my audience probably knows a lot about both of you and about Benekiva. So let's do a really quick elevator pitch. What is Benekiva? And then give me an update on where you guys are.
Yeah, so Benekiva, we digitize the entire claims process from end to end, from the start of a claim, intake process, all the way to the payment of the claim, and everything and anything in between, correspondence, statements, workflows, rules, interest, everything. And our mission from day one was to bridge the gap between policyholders, beneficiaries, and carriers. And today we've stayed true to that mission. A little update on Benekiva. We went from one carrier to 3 carriers, which in less than 9 months, that's a pretty good accomplishment.
It is. Congratulations.
Thank
you.
A technical question on just as a startup, how much strain did that put on your company?
Oh, we grew from 3 employees to 24 employees?
24?
Yeah.
That's more than when we talked in Des Moines.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're growing pretty rapidly. We have 4 different offices, so it's been a whirlwind. But what we do is, from a strategic standpoint, we see the type of traction that we're getting as part of our sales process, and then we ramp up in parallel. So that when that time comes where a carrier says, yep, we're ready to move forward, we've already got our staff onboarded and ready to go.
Yep.
So I think it's an important piece to, not be undisciplined about your finances and things like that, but also be cognizant of, if you believe the sales process is going in a direction where you need to hire people, let's get those people on and get them trained up sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So that's a conflict I think a lot of startups have, is they wait to sign the contract,
yes,
and then they start hiring the people, and
then it just puts a bad taste in the start of the implementation, which is not what anybody wants.
Yeah, you can't stumble out of the gates on that.
Yeah.
So what does it take to get a carrier on board from your perspective? What are some of the hires that have to take place in order to get the onboarding of the solution done appropriately?
So from a Benekiva perspective, everything that we do is configured. So when we sign the paperwork for implementation, we have 2 configuration folks. One, so we're working pretty much 24/7. So we have a resource in US and we have a resource overseas that have been trained, and they do nothing but configure the system based on what the carrier rules, the nuances are. So if, for example, state interest, we were in this is such a recent experience because we configured all of the interest rules, and then our carrier went from giving an extra day of interest to 2 extra days of interest. So for us, that literally took us 30 minutes because all it is changing one number in all of our configuration rules. But to test that with the carrier, it's taking them longer to test that we've got this right versus us making the rule change. So that's the 2 staff that we have, and then we have a project manager or an implementation manager that oversees the engagement. So that's kind of like our team setup on Benekiva side, and then we work with our carriers who have a project manager, any dev integration resources. Those resources on our side sit in a different umbrella under our CTO. So once they're ready to integrate, we have resources that can integrate as well.
I think it's one of those scenarios where, carriers are so used to technology companies coming in, and, a technology company will say, we need to quote unquote configure our technology for you. Well, what every CTO and CIO is going to make the assumption is that means they need to code it. They need to do hard coding for us. And that is not the case with Benekiva. We did enough research on the front end to know that our system is truly configurable. We just need your use cases and your rules. We'll configure the system to that, deliver it back to you, you test it, and away we go.
Yep.
We don't need to engage IT one bit during that process. Because we learned based on the research that we did early on is the IT staff it's a hot commodity in these carriers. They're busy maintaining day-to-day processes, maintaining old legacy systems, and maintenance fixes, upgrades, those types of things. So something like this interest rule, our carrier literally told us they couldn't believe that we got that changed all 50 states, turned it back around for testing in 30 minutes. She said that would have been a 3-month process. I would have had to create a ticket for IT. It would have had to go through IT's, organizational process of where it fits in the overall map.
Yeah.
And then I'd get an estimate of, we'll have the solution ready for you in 3 months. For us, it's literally 30 minutes, and you can go in and retest. So part of the thing that we did was based back on that research was we found that a lot of admin systems simply don't do the claims calculations on the payment calculations. They're great at doing the investment calculations and the policy admin calculations. But if you look at most carriers, they've got a separate interest calculation, whether it's state, product, internal interest calculations, that the admin system functionality does not take care of. So what we did was said we need to have that calculation functionality built inside the Benekiva system to eliminate all of those manual workaround processes.
Yeah, I mean, most of our carriers during the claim payout, they're in Excel spreadsheets. We've heard calculator with tape.
Yes.
Because from a claim packet perspective, you have to show proof. So we have such empathy for our claim staff folks, because in order to service this claim correctly, and meet the regulation needs, they're doing all of these manual workarounds. So I saw an Excel workbook that is it's filled with formulas for each one of the state rules. Some just do like regular Excel calculations, but it's so manual, and this is during payout.
Yes.
Our claim staff has to go through this ringer to just do this basic calculation that our system can identify the state, can give it to them so easily within a platform, and they don't even have to print screen it, tape it to a claim packet.
Shows the advantage of outsourcing certain workflow processes, where if there's going to be a heavy technical component, and you're have the legacy systems, the bureaucracy that's sitting behind it, it's just easier to outsource it. It'll be less expensive, and time-wise, it's a lot faster to have something like that.
Yeah, and less headaches.
Yeah.
We were literally talking to one carrier, and they were looking at doing an internal solution for a long-term care hybrid product, and we said, we have that in our system. So they were talking about doing this $2 million budget to build a claim process just for this one product, and we all know that $2 million budget will be 4 or 6. And you most likely won't get the solution you want, right? So you got, anywhere from $2 to $6 million in this claim solution that's a Band-Aid, and it's only for one product line.
Can't even use the data. You just once again, it's another system the claim staff has to look at.
Yep. Amazing. What other updates does Benekiva have?
Yeah, so we've been, as part of that process of working with the multiple carriers, we're extending our use cases within the platform. For example, our second carrier, we delivered the proof of concept to them. They decided to implement Benekiva, and they came back to us and said, we believe this platform can be configured to process these other types of claims. And originally we were going to go in and just do life and annuity claims, and then they said, but we believe it can process these other claims. And we said, yeah, we believe the system can too. We just need the rules and configure the system, and then we'll give it back to you and test it. As long as it meets your needs, great. We move on. So we asked the question, how many claims are we talking, And originally we were scheduled to process anywhere from 40 to 50,000 claims a year for them. When you add this other product in, it ends up being about 4.2 million claims a year. So pretty exciting update for us. We've configured other use cases. Bobbie can talk about some of the other use cases we've configured.
So we have long-term care.
Mm-hmm.
We have done a disability product with, tell us the number of riders that disability product has, we can configure that. Med Sup is something we understand the file formats, and we believe we can configure Benekiva to handle those use cases. Right now we're looking heavily into cancer products, and we believe to have a use case in like the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
So that's where like the advantage of having someone like Benekiva provides the scalable solution.
Yes.
Because to go from 50,000 claims to over 4 million claims, if you don't have the tech in place,
Mm-hmm.
that's a burden.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
any company that does not have the tech set up correctly.
Yeah, and then we haven't even talked about the customer experience portion.
Yeah.
You take the customer experience where you're trying, the carrier is trying to get to this seamless, one carrier process. We are one carrier, as opposed to these siloed entities where you've got annuities has a separate claim process, life has a separate claim process, disability has a separate claim process. So when you look at that from a customer experience perspective, some of those claims, a life claim is relatively simple. We talked about this on your podcast that there are some carriers that could make the argument of, well, why do we really care so much? Our policyholder has passed away, right? But what we've proven throughout this process is, yes, that's true, the policyholder has passed away, but you have an opportunity to turn the beneficiary into a policyholder as well, if you do things correctly. But when you look at other types of claim processes, for example, the one Bobbie spoke of the long-term care, think about that for a second. Here's a policyholder that is going through your claims process.
Actively.
Yeah. If you don't give them a good claims process, they'll go find someone else. Take it a step further, and we configure our system for group policies as well. What's interesting about a group policy, even on the life side, if you send a beneficiary through a terrible claim process, who are they complaining to? They're complaining to the employer, right? Who has the group policy that maybe thousands of employees are on.
Yeah.
They're going to turn around and go back to the carrier and say, you don't have a good claims process. We're moving our group business from ABC carrier to XYZ carrier.
Which could also take like the 401k.
Absolutely.
Then it opens up the kimono,
Yep.
Yeah. The Med Sup, is that the type of claim where if that's not handled correctly, it could turn into litigation?
Well, any claim could turn into litigation, but yes, there are a lot of intricacies with that product.
Like if you take care of someone quickly in a compassionate way, they'd be less likely to hold a grudge. If
a lot of what's interesting is from the use cases we've seen, a lot of the Med Sup claims can be automated. So our platform could configure or let's back up a minute. Our carriers can configure our Benekiva platform to process those claims automatically, to where once it meets the threshold, that's where the rules engine of Benekiva kicks in. Once it meets all those requirements, it just automatically pays. Now your claim staff is only focusing on that, 10 or 20% where we need an actual human being to look at this case.
Yeah.
But for all of those normal cases, then just have the system automatically pay those.
Yeah. How have you found the incubation process here at Nassau Re?
It's been great. So this is our first visit. We have been in Hartford we were here last year, so we know some of the players. So we have been asked to come join this incubator And for us, we see this as another marketing vehicle and another opportunity to have a good reach in the East Coast. So most of our clients are in Midwest.
Yeah.
We would love to have some in the East Coast. I live in North Carolina. I'm just kidding. But
it's amazing though, like how to me Hartford and Des Moines are like the same.
They're very similar. Yes.
Des Moines a bigger city, but from a insurance company perspective,
Yeah.
the similarities are eerie. In they could both make claims to be like insurance hub
Yep.
of the U.S. based on the number of insurance companies that are actually based in that particular city, and getting both of those nailed down, having business routing through both of those would be such a feather
Yeah.
in your cap. So
Yes.
that's one of the advantages of being in an incubator is you get a warm introduction
Yes.
to a lot of those companies.
Yes.
So
And
Yeah.
what's been great about Nassau Re and the Imagine program is all the commitment that we're seeing with
Yes.
the staff. We had the commissioner talk today. They're so committed to growing Connecticut and to make this the insurance capital. So there's a lot of energy, a lot of focus, which is really great. We, as an InsurTech, we love that there's so much energy and passion on helping make this
a community.
Mhm.
Yeah, beyond just a place where people conduct business. It's actually you have the infrastructure that's supporting and wanting this to happen. So
Yeah, we literally went through the process of, and I didn't even realize this as part of the program. I knew we were going to get some space to work out of when we came to Connecticut, which is great because now that's something we don't have to worry about. We know that when we come here, we have a place to work in between our meetings and such, which is very important to us. But we didn't realize all of the other ancillary benefits that we get along with that. Basically, we're kind of treated, for lack of a better term, we're kind of an extension of their team. We get access to the gym, the cafeteria, it's
you walked
pretty
right
neat.
by me while
Yeah.
I was going through security, Bobbie.
I wish I could have gotten you
You-
in. I
you
was
flashed
still a
your
visitor
badge.
badge.
You're like, okay, I'll see you upstairs, and I was
See
like
ya,
twiddling
sucker.
my thumbs. Like, wait a second, that's not fair.
So much of me wanted to grab Nick and be like, okay, I'm taking you, but I had a visitor badge because I'm getting my real badge in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, fantastic news on the progress.
Thank you.
I'm sure I'll be in touch and we'll continue the update. But every time I talk to you, it's like a month goes by and like everything's changed. So I'm sure everything's going to dramatically change the next time we talk. But
Yes.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.